Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of I Saw Her Standing There by Marie Force, performed by Christina Traister. Chapter 1. Sugar makers in Vermont feel a bit tender about the weather this winter, what with memories of the heat wave in March last year that choked off the sap runs. In response, we decided to start tapping earlier than ever, on February 6. What's 2 weeks? It sounds insignificant, but it feels akin to moving Christmas Day up to December 11. Colton Abbott's Sugaring Journal, February 11. Colton Abbott had never considered himself a particularly private person. That is, until he had something big to hide from his loving, but overly involved family. His 6 brothers, 3 sisters, 2 parents, and 1 grandfather were dying to know how he was spending his weekends lately, and Colton was loving that they had no idea. Not the first clue. A smile split his face as he drove across northern Vermont, from his home in the northeast kingdom town of Butler to Burlington, where his family owned a lake house and where his secret girlfriend would be meeting him in a couple of hours. He wanted to get there early and hit the store for supplies so they could relax and enjoy every minute of their time together. Colton had big plans for this weekend, the 6th one he'd spent completely alone with her. During that time, they'd talked about nearly every subject known to mankind. They'd kissed a lot, fooled around quite a bit, and last weekend? They'd even gone so far as to take each other all the way to blissful fulfillment. But they'd yet to have sex. He intended to fix that this weekend before he lost his mind from wanting more of her. He tried to respect her wishes to take things slow, so they didn't get in over their heads when they lived so far from each other and had so little time to spend together. Of course, he'd heard people say for years that long-distance relationships sucked. But until he'd experienced the suckage personally, he'd had no idea just how totally the situation sucked. It got worse with every weekend they spent together when he was left wanting more and having to wait a full week before he could see her again. They'd been lucky so far. Other than the weekend he'd stayed home for the funeral of his sister Hannah's dog Homer, they'd had 6 weeks.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?